My name is Brian Benson. I'm a winemaker in Paso Robles, California, and this is my story. I got started in the wine business working in my grandparents' vineyard when I was a kid. My dad later started a winery that I worked part-time at. Started working full-time when I was 18 and started my label when I was 19 and released it the weekend after I turned 21. I source my fruit from vineyards all over Paso Robles. I've since started a project focusing on varietals outside of Paso Robles, mainly Pinot Noir, Chardonnay, and Syrah. I'm toying with the idea of working with Grenache, but that's a little bit further down the road. And the goal for me with both my brands is to find unique sites in Paso Robles and now outside of Paso Robles that are grown to their fullest potential. And I've been really lucky to work with a number of vineyards in Paso and now outside of Paso where the growers are as passionate about growing amazing fruit as I am about making amazing wine. So I've been lucky to find vineyards like Caliza, like James Berry, vineyards outside of the area like Duvarita and Slide Hill that are farmed meticulously and give us what we need to make the wines that we want to make. Initially, I started working with Cabernet and Zinfandel. Zinfandel being the first wine that I ever tasted that I actually enjoyed and wanted to drink more. So that was the first thing I started to make. Made a little bit of Cabernet, and in 2003 started making Syrah. In 2005, I moved all my production from my parents' winery to a winery called Denner. Denner's main focus was Rhone varietals, and the other wineries that were making their wine at Denner were focused on Rhone varietals. So I kind of got schooled pretty quick on Rhone varietals, how to make them, and was kind of immersed in it. And I joke that it's kind of my time at Denner was my time in winemaking college. And so I made wine at Denner for 3 years. It was an unbelievable experience, working with a lot of awesome winemakers. And in 2008, purchased all of the equipment that Denner had that my dad didn't have so that I could make wine in a similar fashion at my family's winery. And so in 2008, I bought all this equipment, moved to my dad's place, and made wine there until they sold the business a couple years ago, and I moved down into Tin City. So harvest normally starts the second week of August, getting all of your equipment ready, getting everything clean, and then pretty much the 1st of September, it gets very interesting. All the fruit starts to ripen, and basically you have absolutely no control of your schedule or your time. It's all when the fruit is ripening. So we're constantly out sampling the vineyards, sampling all of our different blocks, and making sure that we pick everything at optimal ripeness. That varies winemaker to winemaker. It's important to catch that fruit right at the moment that you want it picked. We deliver bins late at night. The pickers start picking at 3 o'clock in the morning, have these crazy light setups that look like, a UFO is landing in the center of your vineyard. Pick till about 6 o'clock in the morning. We go pick up the fruit, take it back to the winery, weigh it, and then stash it in the cold room. Normally, we let it sit for about 24 hours so that we can start processing that following morning at 6 a.m. and get all the fruit processed in a tank before it warms up. We have 2 vibrating sorting tables. We run everything across the first sorting table, pulling out any bad clusters. That's elevated over a destemmer, so it falls off the end of the table into a destemmer. All the grapes are removed from the stems, then all the berries fall into another vibrating sorting table where we go through and we pick out every raisin, every little piece of stem, anything that we don't want, so that by the time it ends and leaves the second table, it's nothing but exactly perfectly ripe fruit. People always ask me when they work on the tables, what do I pull in, what do I pull out? And I always say, if you wouldn't want to eat it, then pull it out. And that normally gets people pretty tuned up. Keeping the fruit at 45 to 55 degrees is really important because we put all the wines through a 7-day cold soak, which no fermentation is happening. The only thing that's happening is color and tannin extraction. And so you're getting a much longer drawn out fermentation. So after we do a 7-day cold soak, we let it naturally warm up to about 65, 70 degrees where the fermentation naturally starts to take place. We try and ferment everything in the concrete tanks. Concrete tanks are 4.5 ton fermenters, so a lot of times we deal in small lots, 1 ton, 1.5 ton, 2 ton lots. So we have other tanks that are a little bit smaller, or we ferment in 1.5 ton T-bins. One of the cool things about this particular building that I didn't have in my old facility was completely temperature controlled barrel room. So our barrel room is at 55 degrees, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And the other cool thing was that I was in the position to get some concrete and some stainless tanks. The concrete tanks are really cool for their thermal characteristics, where we're trying to go for a really long, slow fermentation and have it start out really cold and then have it finish, pretty warm. And so when we get the fruit inside the tanks, it chills the concrete. When the fermentation wants to get really warm, it's inside a cool environment. And when the fermentation wants to get really sluggish and slow down and start to cool down, the tank has warmed up and it keeps that fermentation warm. So the thermal characteristics of the tanks have been awesome, and I hope to be able to afford some more of them. We opened our tasting room in September of 2015. It was nothing but 2 barrels and a sagging piece of plywood that we use as a bar. Since then, I've built a really nice stainless steel bar. We have this really cool outdoor patio area with picnic tables, and people come down and we serve wine by the glass, or people buy a bottle and go outside and have a picnic. And it's this really cool, relaxed atmosphere. And it's something that we try to bring into the brand, where we're as serious as we possibly can be about the wines, but we want everybody to have fun while they're consuming these wines. And so it's a perfect sort of avenue for our customers to enjoy our wines. And we have been hosting events, what we call 2-SKU barbecues, where me and another winery sort of collaborate, and we pour wines by the glass, and we do a barbecue, or we have wood-fired pizzas and a bunch of different things. And so they're starting to be pretty cool, and something that I look forward to. Yeah, Benson Cellars is truly a family business. It's me and my wife and our 22-month-old son. Right now, I'm responsible for all the winemaking, the winery, a lot of the wine sales, traveling, things like that, and trying to keep this place afloat financially. My wife manages the tasting room and our wine club. And so when you come in the tasting room, any day that we're open, it's either me pouring the wines or my wife.